Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching. Welcome to episode 2 of Richard and Paul's Chat About.
What are we chatting about today, Richard?
This week, thank you for asking, Paul. This week, on this episode, we're chatting about ghosts and hauntings. Ooh. It's a complex subject. It is. When you start dissecting it, it is a quite complex dilemma.
Do they exist?
Well, that's what we're going to be looking at today on this lovely episode, on this very beautiful, bright day. Shame we could have done with a lovely dark storm of impending doom and chaos.
We had that this morning.
It was wet this morning, but this is not the forum for weather. No, that's Sunday Chat, our other show on a Sunday. Although it is rather breezy, I've noticed. Anyway, ghosts, hauntings, spooky things.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Well, look, again, it's a complex subject.
I want an answer, yes or no.
Well, I'm not going to give you that answer until we've explored all the possibility. What was that? Did you hear
machine?
that? Anyway,
or was it something
I
spooky
don't know,
going
that's
on?
the thing. We have had a few spooky things go on in this house,
We have.
haven't we, over the years?
Have. Yeah.
We've had a few unexplained shadows. We had a dark shape in the corner of the bedroom one night.
You were terrified by that.
Well, I don't think I was terrified.
Oh, you
Paul,
went on about it for years. You were terrified about it.
No, I wasn't terrified. I just kept my cool and thought, just don't look. It was a dark shape in the corner. It was shortly after our friend had passed away, and our little cat at the time, Peanut, was not very well and getting very old, and did actually pass away the week after this happened. So I kind of felt it was death.
But that was at night, wasn't it?
In the late night, yeah.
So we have a light that shines in our window. We're on the street, so there's a light that shines in our window, though it does have a back buffer on it, so not that much shines in. But there's still some light. You saw darkness in that corner.
Well, you're not explaining it very well, Paul, really. The street lamp shines through the blinds. That's what you were trying to say. And you can see it. And on this particular occasion, I could not see it. And I thought to myself, oh, the street lamp's been turned off. And they're never turned off. And it just looked like a huge figure was stood in the way. And I thought, oh, this is death. Death has come to take Peanut. I grabbed hold of Peanut, held her tightly, and thought, just go away. And the next time I looked, it was gone. We've had unexplained shadows.
But was there light coming in the other windows? Do you know? The other
I can't
slats.
remember. I'm moving on now from that story. We've had shadows, unexplained shadows.
Yeah.
We've had unexplained creaking sounds, although this is a very, very old Victorian house.
Yeah.
It does settle down at night. But the reason I'm going to hold back is because we need to explore this subject systematically, Paul. Logically and systematically, using partially scientific methods.
Oh, we can be doing experiments.
No, not really. But first of all, the first thing to say is that supernatural entities have been seen and witnessed by people since time immemorial, Paul.
Millennia.
Haven't they?
Yeah.
I'm quite sure people have been viewing things, strange things, and recording strange things. But it's difficult if you think about it. Because how many people would have had bad eyesight?
Oh, loads.
Without glasses?
Loads.
You know, they did have lenses, correctional lenses, years
and years ago.
Like a long time ago.
Yeah, centuries ago.
Stories of people looking through emeralds to see sporting events and things
really?
like that.
I didn't know that.
Yes. different lenses were used. Glass globes were cut in half because they could make glass
Yeah.
and used as, I think they called them reading crystals or something.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, but glasses, as we know them, were not common. So I'm quite sure people saw all sorts of things. I would see things regularly if I didn't put my glasses on at night, I'm sure.
Well, as a child, you didn't know your eyesight was bad.
No, I didn't.
He thought that everybody was blurred and everyone had the same eyesight until you were a certain age and you had your eyes tested and they went, he doesn't have very good eyesight.
No.
So, yeah.
But I did see a few things as a child.
Yeah.
No wonder. Yeah, I saw a headless man at the bottom of our stairs once.
I
That was frightening.
heard some Victorian children playing hopscotch outside my bedroom window.
Paul, how do you know they were Victorian children? Were they saying, hello, we're Victorian children? How do you know?
But this is it, isn't it? It's really funny. This was, I guess I was about 8 or 9, and we were living at Le Pignon in Guernsey, which is right in the middle of the island, and my bedroom was on the ground floor at the back next to Mum and Dad's room, and it was one of those sort of, I think it must have been about May time, because it was, the nights were, we played outside but it was still getting dark, if you see what I mean, and I went to bed, it was still partly light outside, and I heard these children jabbering.
Chabbering? What's chabbering?
It's a mixture of chatting and jabbering.
Oh, lovely.
And I could hear them playing hopscotch. And in my head, I didn't see anything, but in my head, I pictured the scenario of 4 Victorian children playing hopscotch outside.
How did you know they were playing hopscotch?
Because you could sort of hear the rhythmic thing of the, do da do da do, turn around, do da do da do.
They could have just been ordinary Guernsey children.
Not in our back garden, there weren't any.
Well,
And we did have a well, and when I told Dad this story...
I don't like wells.
In fact, we've had a well at quite a lot of our properties, but this particular one was one that it was broken, but it actually had a handle that you could pump water.
Did
though
you
it
ever
didn't
look
work
down
very
it?
well. Yeah, I did.
And were there 4 Victorian skeletons down there, Paul?
No, but Dad did say that somebody had drowned in the well.
Oh, don't go. That frightens me more than seeing a ghost.
And he hadn't said anything to me until that point.
No, it's
And now
frightening.
we've just said this, I've just realised I don't have the opportunity to ask Dad about that. I've never asked him whether that was true or not.
So, traditionally speaking, there are lots of different things that are seen, aren't there?
I saw a cow once as well. I saw a cow going up Rue de Laurier, and lots of cows went up to Rue de Laurier. This is when we lived at Martindale when I was very young, and I saw a cow, but then Mr. Delisle said that he hadn't moved any cows that day.
Hadn't moved any
cows.
Paul, really, that's not really a very good story,
No, but I
is
thought
it?
that must be a ghost.
Paul sees a cow, thinks it's a ghost cow. Really? But people don't traditionally see cows going up hills. People see sheets.
Yeah, but that's what makes
What is the
life
sheet
interesting.
thing about? That's what I want to know.
I
What is it about? I mean, why have holes in the sheet so the dead person can see through them?
Oh no, but that's just a fabrication.
I don't
isn't
understand that. Is it because the dead people had a sheet over them? And
I
that's
think-
the last thing that you saw?
Yeah, I think
Is
it
that
is
why?
that, isn't it? Didn't they used to
Well, they
drape
always,
the body?
well, they always fold the sheet over the dead person's face, don't they?
But in the photographs that the Victorians used to take, didn't they, once they posed the dead person or the dead people, didn't they used to put a covering over them and then set the family around and take the covering off
I don't know.
before they took the photograph.
Okay, maybe, so that's the reason why. But let's move on.
I was quite enjoying that sheet chat.
But other things that people see.
Right.
White ladies,
Yeah.
grey ladies.
And the white ladies are always in long flowing dresses, aren't they? They're not in like,
A miniskirt.
miniskirt.
No.
No.
You see headless horsemen. There's meant to be one of those in Guernsey, isn't there?
There is.
And disembodied limbs
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I heard a story about a pair of boots.
Boobs.
Boots, Paul.
Oh, boots.
Ghostly boobs haunt house. No, boots. Soldiers have been seen
Yeah. Marching.
submerged under pavement level.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I heard that
Yeah.
story. Strange disembodied lights floating, spirit lights, orbs,
Orbs.
which I
Orbs.
think are just specks of dust,
Yeah, yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah. You see them sometimes in our videos. If there's bright sunshine and a
I don't
bit of
think you
dust
do,
goes
not
in.
in this house, Paul. Thank you. Voices are heard.
Yeah.
Sounds.
I heard the Victorian children.
Sounds. And there's, of course, the
Hopscotch.
EVP phenomena,
What's that?
electronic voice phenomena,
What's that?
where they record voices speaking through the ether.
Is that what our friends were doing?
Nikki and Michael's blog on Facebook, you
Yeah.
can follow them, who we met on West Wickham Hill,
Oh,
who are real life ghost hunters.
Yeah.
Ghost hunters, I was going to say then, in a northern accent.
Why would you say that?
There are also sensations, la sensation. Aren't there? People feeling as though they've been touched.
Oh,
the
yeah,
common one
yeah.
is people feeling as though somebody's sat next to them on the bed
Yeah.
and they feel the bed sink. I felt that.
Yeah, I was sitting next to you.
No, it wasn't you. It was after Peanut passed away. I'm sure I felt her get on the bed with me. And it's things like that. Smells.
Oh, yeah, smells, of course.
People get ghostly smells of old perfumes lingering in the air.
We had scrambled eggs for breakfast and they were lovely. And then when I was upstairs about 2 hours ago, I suddenly smelt bacon. And I realised I hadn't smelt bacon. I just got a whiff of scrambled eggs.
Well, it was probably that incense that I put on, Paul, to get rid of the cooking smells.
What, bacon?
Well, smoky
Oh,
smell.
there we
That's
are.
probably what it was.
So it wasn't a
It
ghost.
wasn't a ghost of a rasher of bacon.
There is.
I'm trying
there
to be
is.
serious about
I am.
this.
There is. There are ghostly pigs in Guernsey.
Oh, God.
Varzon Bay, which is the largest bay in Guernsey. Varzon means swamp because it used to be quite swampy there. Years and years ago, there used to be trees there, and they used to have apparently pigs foraging underneath the trees. And apparently, after a stormy night, sometimes you can actually see some fossilised trees. You can see that if the tide is out far enough. But apparently, ghostly pigs have also been seen on Varzon Bay when the tide is out and they're foraging for ghostly acorns. That's lovely, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about
I
ghostly
think that would be
pigs.
lovely.
Not very frightening.
Well, but should ghosts be frightening?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Otherwise, they're not scary. are they?
But we project scariness of ghosts, don't we? Ghosts may actually be there to help us.
Yeah, but why? Why do we like to be scared, Paul? I do. I love being scared. I get scared quite easily, actually.
Yeah.
If I'm watching something like Most Haunted on my own, which I think is a load of rubbish anyway, but I don't like it if the dark hallway is behind me.
Why put light on?
I don't want to because I want to be scared.
Ah.
But anyway, so there are these sort of traditional things that people see. But I think in modern times, there are some sort of new things, aren't there?
Are there?
Well, yeah, you had the Blair Witch Project, didn't you? Which was that sort of reality film.
That was a long time ago now.
Where you saw very little.
Yeah.
But then you've had other sort of reality things recently. Slender Man.
We enjoyed that.
Yeah.
What was it called? The Thin Man.
And Skinwalkers, I've heard of as well, which are these sort of creature things in the woods in America. And they're all sort of like strange supernatural type creatures. So the millennials have got their own sort of versions of scary, ghosty things. Yes, they have, Paul, trust me, I've done the research.
But are they ghosts?
Well, I don't know, but they're supernatural type beings, aren't they?
Or could they just be beings?
Well, I don't know, they could be. But we're talking about ghosts and hauntings. I just thought I'd say that. Keep the kettle boiling, Paul. And, a lot of it, I think, arises from the sort of modern concepts, going back to, say, Victorian times. We mentioned them, and they were really into their seances, spiritualism, Ouija boards, things like that. Have you ever done a Ouija board?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Well, we used to do spirit in the glass.
Oh, that's when your finger on top.
So you used to put cards with letters and numbers around in a circle, and then a glass in the middle, and you'd all put your finger and just wait for it to start moving.
And did it ever move?
Yeah.
Who was pushing it?
Well, look, is it a collective effort? I don't want to sort of diss these things because, a lot of people find it great fun.
And a solace for some.
That's right, that's right. So, mediums, psychics, all of that stuff. I don't want to dissect that as such because I don't want to be offensive if I turn around and say I think it's all a load of old you-know-what. Baloney. Because, yeah, I've been to see psychics on about 3 occasions, usually when I've lost somebody.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? It's that feeling of loss, and you want to try and fill something, and if it's a solace and it's not actually doing anyone any damage, then fine. And of course, if it is real, fine. I've worked with a couple of psychics.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
No,
yeah.
But I think when you're feeling desperately unhappy about the loss of somebody, there is a part of you that really wants to believe that something, that there is something else that we go on. And I think you are more prone and more open, maybe when you're a little bit younger, a little bit more vulnerable, not as beaten down by the real world, if you like. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I do. I remember when my old brother died, Mum read an awful lot of Doris Stokes books.
Yes,
do you remember
Doris Stokes? Yeah.
And she what was that? That must have been 80s.
Yeah,
and
it was.
She was like, a big. Was she a psychic?
Yeah,
or
she was a medium.
And she wrote a load of books.
She did.
And Mum found that a good solace.
Yeah, my grandmother did too when she lost my granddad, so she was really into it. And but people do explore those things. But let's move on. Let's look at the next question that I've got. Why do people see ghosts? And of course, we've got one explanation there: the need.
Yeah.
The need to believe, the desire to believe. I wrote down here, existence of such entities relies on our willingness to believe? ? Does the willingness to believe in something conjure up the hallucination? Let's explore. Let's explore, Paul.
I think in part it does. I mean, I believe in energies. I do. I believe in energies, and I believe that energies can manipulate an environment and light and sound. So therefore, if you do see a ghostly figure, it could actually be some type of energy. So I do believe that.
But it would have to manifest itself in the air.
But would it need to do that? Because we what is it, amorphise or something? What's that? What? Where you see a shape and you see a shape of a human. Your first thing is to put something. Anthropomorphise.
Well, that's to do with animals, isn't it?
No, it's not that. It's basically looking at something and trying to see a person's face in it. Because one of the first things.
That's pareidolia.
Okay, pareidolia.
Where we see things that we are conditioned to see, which is different.
So you may see some leaves blowing, and you think, oh, that's a figure blowing. Yeah. Is that a ghost?
Which is why I mentioned people's eyesight. You know, that could explain all sorts of things. Being in the scary forest, not being able to see properly, and the effect of pareidolia happening on an object or a tree. You know, seeing something that your brain is conditioned to see. Let's dissect this a different way, because I've made some notes that sort of lead on from that. If you plant the idea that something is haunted, a place is haunted, or that somebody may see a ghost, are they going to be more susceptible to seeing something that they want to see?
Yes. I think they'd even be more susceptible. What is it? Susceptible. I can't speak today. Susceptible, even if they don't want to see something.
If they think a place is haunted.
Yeah.
So, because I think if you walk into a place that you're told is haunted, you start immediately to look around. I do at Hampton Court when we go to Hampton Court, because I would love to see something.
Yeah, I would.
You know?
And of course, several years ago, Hampton Court did have their own ghost.
Oh, well, they've had ghosts for years.
But it was caught on camera, that one, wasn't it?
The one opening the doors in Tudor dress. Yeah, but I think that was probably a hoax.
Not from historic royal palaces, surely.
It was very effective hoax. It was quite spooky to look at. You can look it up online. We'll try and find a link, actually, and put a link in the description about that.
You could do a wobbly card.
But I think the atmosphere of a place and also the time of year makes a difference. Halloween, winter time.
Long shadows, I think.
Long shadows, dark days. Put yourself in the right place, in the right atmosphere. You're going to start conjuring up things in your own mind, aren't you? We'll come on to more of that in a moment, Paul. We've already talked about the desire to see a lost relative as well. That's another thing that might set you up to see something.
I mean, that's why lots of people do go to mediums, isn't it? Yeah. And of course, it's that has been around in theatre and drama and film for years, hasn't it? From ghosts back to what's the one with Madame Arcati?
Blithe Spirit. Yeah, exactly. And of course, we have our own fair share of haunted theatres in the West End of London.
Absolutely.
Especially the most famous one, Paul?
Drury Lane.
Drury Lane, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's meant to be auspicious to see the ghost on opening night.
Yeah.
Because that is meant to assure a good run and a successful show.
Yeah.
Lovely. I wonder if we'll see a ghost passing through here this evening.
Doubt it.
Ooh, lovely. Anyway.
There's a cat in one of them. There's a cat in one of the theatres.
Places we've visited, so we've mentioned Hampton Court.
Ham House.
Ham House is quite spooky.
Yeah.
I find it spookier than Hampton Court.
Yeah.
And in all of these places, there are quite a few quite dark areas, aren't there?
Well, I mean, the foyer of Ham House, if I remember it correctly, is quite dark, and then it's got that dark and austere staircase that goes up the left.
Yes.
And has it got a balcony around it? I think it has. You can look down onto the foyer there.
There is a sort of walkway, yes.
And what was her name?
Who?
Oh,
Paul, don't stop
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth,
Duchess of Lauderdale. Elizabeth, Duchess of Lauderdale. She lived there, very wealthy woman with her husband. I think quite into women's rights and things like that. And her ghost is said to walk Ham House.
Lovely.
But we didn't see it when we went there.
Hampton Court, that is meant to have loads of ghosts.
Yeah.
Loads.
And you can sort of feel it as well, particularly when if you have the chance to be outside of opening hours. So when we were doing the ice rinks there many, many years ago, I remember having to go to one of the rooms in one of the wings to collect some PR people, some journalists, and the spiral staircase I went up was sort of, it wasn't lit fantastically, it was quite spooky.
There's a couple of areas in Hampton Court that are really dark and gloomy, for various reasons. There are some pictures that cannot have a lot of light on them.
Yeah.
But there's the cellar.
Yeah.
Where the wine and the beer was kept. And there's corridors that aren't very well lit, that are they just feel so old. They are so old. And you want to sort of linger there and wait to see if anything ghostly walks past, or just to absorb the atmosphere. I love that. I love those feelings you get in those old places where you almost think you'll turn a corner and you'll have slipped back in time and all the ghosts of the past will suddenly appear. And I love that sensation.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Hever Castle?
No.
Hever Castle is another place, and that's where Anne Boleyn lived, or Bullen, as I think she was when she was there. And that again, you hear a lot, because Anne Boleyn was with obviously Henry VIII, and they lived in various houses. You hear about Anne Boleyn being a ghost in various different houses, and I do sometimes wonder, well, how can she be a ghost there at the same time as a ghost over there?
Who knows? Good question, though. I mean, other places that we visited that are, purported to be haunted. Alderley Edge.
Yes.
Which is quite a spooky place.
It is very spooky.
I'll put a little link to our video on Alderley Edge. West Wickham.
Yeah, I love West Wickham.
The mausoleum at West Wickham, which has been used in several horror films. If I've got a link to... Did we do a video on West Wickham? Can't remember.
Yeah.
And of course, I lived for a short while at Pepperton Castle.
Yes.
Which was meant to have a ghost that was legs. Because that's all that had been seen. And also a cavalier.
Right.
A person dressed in a cavalier's outfit. But of course, Pepperton Castle wasn't an old castle.
No.
So it can't have been an historic ghost. It must have been the ghost of somebody wearing that costume.
But I mean, will have there been battles and things around there?
I don't know, possibly, because there's another castle on the other hill. But the boots were seen by somebody that I knew who had, I don't know the full story, but he'd gone into the castle and the lights for some reason were off, and he had a torch, dropped the torch, went to pick the torch up, and as he picked the torch up, all he could see were a pair of boots that walked off. I know, spooky, huh? Very spooky. So
that has actually given me a little bit of...
There's also a couple of other... I mean, there are loads of haunted places in Britain. There's Glamis Castle in Scotland. That's meant to be very haunted. It's one of the royal homes, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the Queen Mother owned that place. Borley Rectory.
Where's that?
Which is, I think it's in, is it Essex or Sussex? I'm not too sure. That was considered one of the most haunted houses in Britain.
Right.
I think there was meant to be a ghostly nun there.
Oh, I love ghostly nuns and monks.
There was communication in writing on the walls, and the person who lived there tried to write messages back, and then she'd go back the next day and there'd be more scribbled writing that was totally unintelligible. So who knows what was happening there. Look it up online.
I once stayed with Mum and Dad in the old rectory in Tunbridge. Was it Tunbridge? Yeah, I think it was Tunbridge. It was around that area. It was Colonel. It was opposite Colonel Wolfe's house.
I don't know who that
apparently
is.
Colonel Wolfe was he was
a what?
A colonel many years
you don't
ago.
Know,
in a seafaring colonel, and we were told that the rectory was haunted, and Mum didn't sleep very well that night.
You see, planting the idea in somebody's head.
It was.
Doesn't always work for everybody, but I mean, look, we've got to dissect all of these things in a scientific way. Whether you like it or not, you have to. And I think the one thing we've got to remember is that science says that everything we experience is happening here, in our brains.
Of course it is.
Absolutely everything. Our eyes are not the organ that's actually seeing.
No.
It's not. The photons go into the eye, they go through a lens. That lens turns the image upside down for a start, and then the optic nerve is connected to the brain, and the brain decodes the information and creates the image in our brains.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's extraordinary.
That's science. So, you know, the images have got to be decoded, and that's the bit I'm interested in. Because there are all sorts of things that can go wrong with those messages. And that's the interesting thing. There are lots of stories, we've talked about this before. People with brain injury or problems with the brain, neurological conditions, can hallucinate. There was the story, I think it was Oliver Sacks that wrote about the man who mistook his wife for a hat. Yeah? It's true. It's a true story. So the other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the scientific side of things is about those messages. And I was doing a little bit of research. And the research told me that very basically, and I'm going to try and explain this in the best way I can, we all have a sense of ourselves as being contained within ourselves, yeah?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So, for example, the experiment that psychologists have done is on people who've got issues with these messages getting through, is if you tickle yourself, so if I tickle my hand, yeah, I know it's me tickling my hand.
Yeah.
So I'm anticipating that response. Therefore, it's not ticklish.
Oh, I see.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If somebody else tickles your hand, it's external. So the reaction is different.
I never thought of that.
Yeah?
You can't tickle yourself.
Sometimes, in certain brain conditions, your internal reality gets interpreted as external.
Right.
So sometimes the voices you hear in your head, the sensations and sounds of your body can be misread due to an injury or a neurological condition. Can be interpreted as external. This can happen. It's proven. So if you really think about how our brains work in relation to all these senses that we have, I mean, we're like a machine, really, if you think about it.
Well, we are. We're a blood and bones and skin machine.
We have these sensors that help us navigate the world, but they can only do that because of the brain. It wouldn't happen if we didn't have a brain. You know, I mean, it's lightning fast. I touch your shirt, I feel it, because there's a feedback that my brain gives me.
But that's when they started doing, why they started just freezing heads, wasn't it? For those people, was it Walt Disney? Did he have his head frozen or something?
Know. But you could
so that your head could be put onto anybody's body, but because it was all contained in your head.
But you could misread a sensation on your skin.
Yeah.
That's an internal sensation as an external sensation.
Well, even sort of some wind brushing
the
hairs on your skin at a point where you might be, you know, in a mellow mood might trigger thoughts of, oh, what was that? Was that my brother trying to contact me?
You know, and it also begs the question that, you know, reality versus dreams versus hallucinations, you know? I mean, for example, it's well known that the brain makes no distinction between dreams, a dream state and a waking state.
Really?
There's no difference. That's why, if you have a particularly violent dream, your body during REM sleep paralyzes itself. Your brain paralyzes your body so you don't act out your dream.
Oh, I see, right, yeah.
You know?
So you don't jump off the cliff.
Yeah, exactly. And that also brings up the subject of sleep paralysis when people wake during that state.
Yeah.
It can cause all sorts of things to be seen, you know? Quite common. So that's another reason for seeing things that aren't there.
My nan used to say that a relative, I can't remember who it was, used to wake her up before she was going to sleep to check she was okay. And that was, of course, you know, sometimes you're going to sleep and then you just, you jolt yourself, don't you? And that I remember talking to her and she said, no, that's when somebody grabs your toe just to let you know that you're okay.
Well, there are those, I think, going to sleep and waking up, there are different states of being. And there are certain types of hallucinations that happen during those states. I think one of them's called hypnagogic hallucinations, and there's another hypno something. I can't remember its name. And I mean, I've very often said to you, I love that state where I'm sort of sleeping on the sofa in the afternoon. It's gone very dark, Paul. Let me just adjust the light. Apologies, we just had to change the light because it had got awfully dark all of a sudden. Frightening.
Could that have been all the spirits clouding around the house, making it darker?
No, it's just the sun's gone behind a cloud. It'll probably come out now. It'll come out now and go really bright. You can bet your life.
I think it was the spirits coming to say hello.
No, don't say that. So what were we saying? What were we talking about? Oh, yeah.
Hypnagogic.
So what we're trying to say in a garbled sort of way is there are lots of brain states that you can be in that can cause you to see things that aren't there. So that would be the scientific explanation for why people see things.
Part of that poem has come in my head. I saw a man who wasn't there. What was that?
Oh no, I don't like that one. It makes me chilled.
Something about seeing
on
a man
the stairs
and he wasn't there.
I wish he'd go away or something. Oh no, don't make that's made me go cold. It really has. I don't like that. The thing is, with all of this, talking about the brain conjuring up hallucinations and images, What about when people do capture things on camera or on recordings? You know? They could say with recordings that it's auditory pareidolia.
Yeah. So you're trying to put some
Find
order.
chaos.
Yeah.
Find patterns in the chaos.
Yeah. Order in the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could say the same about photographs as well. If they're not, they're never very clear though. These photographs, are they?
Well,
You
no.
know, they're always blurred and a bit fuzzy and.
And they're often sort of somebody looking out a window or something like that, aren't they? And you wonder, could somebody actually be looking in that window and it's just a reflection? But of course, if there's a distance...
Not if it's a top window.
That's what I mean. If there's distance, then it's not going to be a reflection because that would be impossible. So maybe it is somebody inside the house pretending to be a ghost.
Yeah, and of course within all... Oh, there's a pigeon. In all of this...
2 wood pigeons.
In all of this, there's that little word hoax.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Is it a hoax?
Yeah.
Is it somebody playing a trick? Because as humans, it's in our nature to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so. Well, that's it. We've come to the
no,
end.
there's lots more to discuss.
No, there isn't.
We
Paul.
haven't talked
have
about the
discussed-
bell.
What bell?
The of the bell.
We've talked about that in other videos.
Yeah, but not
the
here.
ghostly bell, haven't we?
We have, but not here.
Yeah.
We woke up one morning and the bell, we used to have an old bell on the inside of our door. It was on the wall. And it was one of those sort of like maid's bells.
Old-fashioned Victorian bell.
Yeah, maid's bells. And one day it started ringing.
One morning, very early in the morning.
And it wouldn't stop.
It wouldn't stop. It wouldn't even stop when I grabbed hold of it. And I could feel it moving in my hand. There was nobody at the door. It wouldn't stop. I had to rip it off the wall.
It did.
Literally. I don't know, that could have been the battery running down because things do malfunction when batteries get low.
Or could it have been a malevolent spirit trying to enter the house?
Or a benevolent spirit warning us of something.
It could have been. It could
We
have
don't
been.
know. We went to Avebury that day.
We did.
And had a lovely day.
Yeah.
It was super. So, you know, with all of these things, everybody's got a story to tell. And if you've got a story to tell, let us know in the comments below.
So,
That's
Richard,
it. What?
do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in the power of the human mind, the human brain. That's what I believe in. I've always said that. I will stand by that. As an external entity, in order to believe in one, I would need physical evidence. Yeah, solid physical evidence.
I sort of do. I believe in energies, and I also believe in time being bent and memories in walls and things like that. So yeah, I sort of do, but they're not the ghostly woman and all of that, you know. I think it's more about an energy that may manifest itself, which then interacts with your brain, and yeah.
Lovely, Paul. Thank you for that unscientific explanation.
It's highly scientific.
And we will be exploring the subject of time and time slips in another episode. So thank you very much for joining us today on the sofa for Ghosts and Hauntings by Richard and Paul. That's Richard and Paul since 2017. That's contractual. Bye for now. Sweet dreams.